Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode number 10 of Refactoring an Android app with our friend Rakesh. Hello Rakesh, we repeat the same line every time. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Today we're going to talk about Dagger without further ado. So given the fact that I'm not very confident of what the concept behind dependency injection is or why we do it in the first place, I just know the immediate benefit, which is the convenience of not having to type a lot of code all the time. That's the first immediate convenience it provides. So Rakesh is going to explain what he believes to be the reason, which I believe he believes it as well. So if you'd like, Rakesh, you can go ahead.
Thanks. So to me, the biggest reason for doing dependency injection, like we have here with our books activity presenter, we pass in everything it needs to use rather than having it, for example, newing up a books repository inside its presenter. The reason we pass them in is because of testability. And if you couldn't have done that, you couldn't test the class. And if you can't test the class, then you don't know whether it's going to work or not until
That's true.
we're back to the beginning. So what I'm trying to explain is that as you grow in confidence with your software skills, hopefully you'll realize that what you should be trying to do is test your code, is to do developer testing. And that will give you more confidence that you've written it correctly. And then as you take that to the next level and you start doing TDD, then the TDD will help you to design your code better, not just test it, but actually design and write that code for you. And you will get more confidence in what you're doing. And also, especially if you do TDD, then it encourages you to break everything up. But then obviously you have to put it all back together again. So, creating object graphs and things like that. So by putting dependencies coming in, then we gain a lot of flexibility. I mean, look, we were able to put schedulers.trampoline in when for our test, but we know that runtime is going to be the Android main thread, right?
That's true.
And it was easier to do because we had the opportunity to replace things with our own versions of things and allow us to test and have confidence that the code works the way we want it to work.
Yeah, otherwise you're
And
stuck with what the method is hard-coded to do. Like it's literally hard-coded to do something. You can't escape it. You have to and like separate them from what the actual core function does.
Well, imagine a class that, let's say this presenter, we did it without passing in books repository and it was newing it up.
Yeah.
Then if we ran it, what would it do? It would new up a books repository and open a connection to SQLite.
That's true, yeah.
Which we don't,
which we don't
really want to do in a testing environment, right?
Yeah.
In fact, it probably won't work for us. It'll blow up because SQLite isn't available while we're running the JVM anyway.
Yeah.
So by opening it up, then you can pass in something that's supposed to be the database, but as far as the presenter is concerned, it doesn't know any details about it. Just ask this thing for the questions, and now we can do testing.
So basically, the purpose of having more having functions designed in a way that they can operate by parameters passed from outside is...
Well, hold on. You're talking about functions now. We're not talking about functions. I think you're talking about the clean code
classes,
chapter about functions, which is a slightly different topic.
No.
We're not really talking about parameters.
No. I mean, like in this way, in this line, it's not a function, it's a class. For it to become operational, you don't want to you don't want to have stuff initialized inside all the time, because of the purpose that eventually you're going to have to separate what it actually does from what it needs to do its job so you can test it.
Yes.
That's the ultimate purpose.
And also, here's another good reason. You see this books repository?
Yeah.
We're passing it in. And as far as the presenter is concerned, it has no idea
what this should represent.
Yeah, it doesn't know it's talking to SQLite. What if we changed it for a different database?
Yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't know, right? Because it is dependent on the interface books repository. It doesn't know anything about the concrete class. And even at test time, we're giving it, a mock. But at runtime, we're giving it something that's talking to SQLite. But later on, maybe, a few months down the road, instead of SQLite, we want to use something else, like say Realm or something, right? This class doesn't care. It doesn't have to change because it was dependent on an abstraction.
It's a very noble way of programming. It's very
I think
gentleman.
I think really, this really is something that you must do if you want to, get to the next level.
This
Definitely,
is
you
the
need to
core
open up
of
your
it,
classes for
man.
testing.
This
It is very much so.
Yeah.
So that leads us on to how to pass our dependencies in to the classes that need them. Now, what are
Okay.
we doing? Here, for example, to get us going, I newed up the books activity presenter and passed in its dependencies, including newing up a database books repository. Now, this isn't such a great idea, newing it up, because as we know, it's talking to SQLite, and SQLite is going to do this. It's going to initialize itself, and it's
Yeah,
going to initialize itself every time we do a new.
that's true.
So really, what we want is one instance of this particular class and reuse it everywhere that it's needed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so a dependency injection framework allows us to manage these dependencies. That's what it's
Okay.
for, and then provide them to whatever classes need them.
Okay.
So I think what we should do today is to migrate our presenter to use DI. Ideally, what we want to see in here is we want to see @inject for the presenter. Do you think we can get that far, or do you think we should just work on getting the books repository in? Tell you what, let's do it in stages. Let's get the books repository
Injected.
in, but into this class, yeah.
Injected into this class. Okay. So, the implementation details of Dagger specifically is basically two files, and the initialization of Dagger to use these two files inside your application class. So you have here your app component, and you have your app module, which I'm gonna drag over here. The app module includes all of the classes that you want to provide. So they're done by annotations. Either you have to use provides, of course. You say what the type of, how it should provide it as a singleton. All of the singleton logic is provided by the framework. So if there was an instance of this thing you're requesting, of this object you're requesting, that's what you get. Otherwise, you get a new one. And you can also not mention singleton for the ones that you'd like. You can mention singleton for the ones that you want. It's up to you. And it's annotated by the module word here. All of this, you can get access to it from the repository if you just email me, link in the description. And you'll get to see this code over here. So yeah, okay. So I'm providing here a context, activity resources, DB helper, the handler for the books DAO, which is why we're using ORM Lite. So you need this object to be able to run queries on the database, and one for the snippets. Now, ideally, as Rakesh said last time we were going over this, you would have two types of modules. This app module has to do with all the things that you provide for the app specifically, like shared preferences editor if you like. It's not necessary. And over there, you can have another module that has to do with the DB only, which provides the book DAO and provides the snippet DAO. And somewhere else, you can have another module that provides another type of objects that has like 3-5 provides that have to do
Maybe network, right?
network,
Like
for
retrofit
example.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
retrofit, you get the service, etc. So here in my preliminary implementation of it, I just had them all in one place. Haven't had the time to go over them and separate them. That's basically what this file does. Now over here there's a constructor. You have to give it the application, because you don't have to give it the application. I have to give it the application because over here I'm using the application context as provides. So context is or application is a subclass of context. They're interchangeable, I think. So That's how I do it with the providing the application context. I'll get back to that in another place. You'll see it in action. The app component file, this says, now honestly, I don't know why there's singleton here. I don't know why I put it back there, but it says it's annotated with component. You provide the modules that you want this component to use, which is app module or DB module. I think they're separated by commas. So this is the only module that we're using. It's an interface, app component. It's called app component, okay. And you have these methods here. Void inject. You mention the file that you'd like to have the injection happen in. Okay, so we're injecting into this guy, into all these classes. If you go into one of these classes, you can see here there's two injection lines. I'm gonna close it. How do we close it? Like this. All right. So that's about it for these two files. If we go to, how do I go to any file? Command E. Yeah. Snipit application. I want to go to the application class. Here we go. Okay, so over here you have your app component as an object, which is the same app component we mentioned over there, and you call in your onCreate of the application class init dagger. What happens is component, this line is resolved on compile time. Why or what? That's what I know. When you write this line, it's not going to parse.
I think you've copied and pasted bits and bobs from all over the place, right?
Nah,
I mean, who accesses component?
let me tell you. In the classes, you have to run this get app component dot something. Wait, we're going to a
No, you
file
don't.
where there's an injection happening.
Yeah.
No, not this one. Settings activity. Okay. So over here, it's like butter knife. So butter knife, you have to say bind or inject, or there used to be another word for it. Inject, I think. Butternut.inject this. This line has to be in every file that you say you want an injection to happen in. So that's why you need the app component object to use it to inject this so that the injection could happen. This file could be linked to this thing that says this class needs an injection. This will
Can I
be
ask a question?
confirmed.
Can I ask a question? This class is an interface, correct?
Yeah.
Is there a class implementing this interface?
Is there a class implementing this interface? No.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Because according to IDE, there is. Over here, look. Oh, and what do we have
this
here?
is generated stuff. I didn't write this.
I know you didn't write this because this is what Dagger does. It does this for you.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Right, now. And then the idea is, where's your class gone? Where have you been using it? Was it here?
Where's my
I think
what?
the idea is when you come to using it.
Yeah.
So you want that component because that component knows how to inject your stuff.
Yes.
Correct? So then what you can do, why is it red?
Where?
Okay, don't worry about that. So now apparently, let's have a look. Where is it? Settings activity. Dagger. App component. Look. What's that?
It's the component object that I need.
Well, where is it in this class?
It's implicitly in, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I think you got a bit confused with stuff. Now, listen, I'm not an expert on Dagger. I've not actually used it in a production app for a long time. I'm using it in my current one. And I always used to do my own wiring up because I didn't think it was that big a deal, but that's not how things are going. But let me have a quick go at explaining a few things, yeah?
Okay.
So, let's start with the app module. So from what my understanding is, you create one or more classes annotated with @module, correct?
Yeah.
And the idea is that these modules are the source of your instances. and you
Yeah.
can say that, you know, using the app provides. And what actually happens is Dagger will first of all find these classes that you've got that annotation on, right?
Mm.
And then to find out what it can do, what classes it can provide, it looks for this
Mm-hmm.
and then compares it with this.
The return.
Yeah, the return type.
Yeah.
So now it knows that this module can be used to get a context.
Yeah.
You know
That.
what?
Yeah.
This thing, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's just for us.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
true.
Dagger doesn't care.
Yeah.
Okay. So here you can see that it can get a resources as well from this module. Okay. With
Mm.
me so far?
Yeah.
Now, imagine that all the classes in here are your own classes.
Okay.
Then it wouldn't need anything from the outside.
Yep.
Okay. The things you have to provide are the things that you can't create. And in our case, it's this,
Yes.
right? So you did the right thing there, right?
Mm.
You passed in the one dependency that you can't create yourself that you need to get from the outside, which is the snippet application.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. So that's fine. Now, one other thing is, I really think these should have been singleton too, because you don't want to create these every time.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah. For sure.
So I think that should be singleton. I'm going to leave these two because I don't think we have a use for them right now.
Mm.
But I think this really should be a singleton. Now, once you've defined across one or more module classes your classes that you're interested in your app, then what it is then you're in a situation where you need some of them. That's when you create the component, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Now you're saying, I want these dependencies given to me.
Mm.
Now, perhaps one class needs stuff, but it doesn't need anything from the network module.
Yeah.
So you could create a component that doesn't have any dependency on the network one, just on the app module and the database one, if we'd split it and stuff like that. So then you can pick and choose what you depend on, what
Sure.
object graph you want.
Sure.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. So these classes here, they all have access to all of the methods over in app module.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
could have classes that don't need that stuff. A different
And it's
component
Dagger's
for
job.
them.
And it's Dagger's job to create the class that wires it all together. Look, if you look, it's actually done the wiring code for you.
Mm.
See? It's all here.
Mm.
So that's how I see Dagger. Now, there's a whole load of other stuff, and they've been extending it recently with all sorts of features, which are beyond me at the moment. But if I ever understand any of them, then I'll come back. But that's what I understand for the time being. Now, you did this thing in the application where
Yes.
you did this Dagger app component.
Yeah.
And you did this, and this. I'm not saying this is wrong. This is fine. This will work. I would just. I think that's actually okay. It should be fine. And then over here, you then say, right, inject this class, and that's when it's going to go and get the dependencies and match them.
Yeah, because these lines that you're highlighting right now are going to fail until you write that line. So it's going to parse it, and it's going to understand that this guy is allowed to do this.
Yeah, so I think really you've got everything you need really to try and do this in books activity, right? To get the DB helper.
For DB helper?
So actually, you need a books repository, right?
Yeah.
You want to create an instance of this. So in here, I don't know, what do you want to do? Do you want to pull out a DB one specifically, or do you want to just add it to this one for the time being and we'll refactor it later?
I'm not sure I understand the difference, but I've already injected DB inside books activity.
Where?
If you go up,
Yeah,
like to the way top, inject. There are no injections here yet? Oh, okay. Nope. Okay, we can do that. So what?
Well, you don't want to. Actually, what I suggest you do is you inject the books repository.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to create a method that says get books repository or provides or whatever, and say that the book's activity is eligible for injection.
Yeah.
So
So start with the module. Yeah.
with the app module, we're gonna say as a singleton.
Yep. Provides. Yeah.
Okay.
Capital S.
Singleton. It says books repository. Why? Okay. Okay, I need to tab it. Why is it going down there? Okay, you can write it if you like.
The thing is,
not used to this.
I know this is what you prefer, but this is really horrible, putting it all on one line like this.
Why? Oh, this is
Because
your formatting?
nobody likes that, man. I don't like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is the way you format your
Yeah.
code, okay. This wouldn't appear here like this in my editor because it cuts off the line at about here. So they would just go down there. Okay, so do I continue?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Provides books repository. And it doesn't need anything. What does it need? What does it need? How do we know what it needs?
You go to it.
We go to it.
So it's the last one. It's the one on the end.
Here.
The one on the end.
Yes, here.
The one on the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Needs
because
a
you want to create
context.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's no big deal. So.
Well, should we give it a context?
Should we give it a
Yeah.
context? It has
Should we give it a context?
It has a context. Over and.
Should we give it a context or should we give it a DB helper?
Should we give it a context or should we give it a DB helper? No, you give it a DB helper.
But then you'll have to change the class, right? You'll have to change the implementation class to accept that instead.
That's true.
So go to database books repository.
But let's be sure on why we need to give it a DB helper instead, so that we don't have to hard code this, so we can pass it. Why are we giving it a DB helper? Why did you say yes?
Because in the constructor, you're creating this database helper here, right? Okay. Now, if you look here, you already did it here.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Okay.
So what I'm saying is, let's change this to take a database helper, right? We're going to end up breaking code, but it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So then this doesn't need a context now. It just needs one of these, right? And then we can just say, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now in here,
this is where you create the actual. Oh no, no, you're yeah. You say here
database blah, 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 blah.
Data.
Yeah.
Database helper. Return new books. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, okay, it was right. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. But
what?
Books repository implements database books repository.
Yeah.
So that's why you return something and then the type is different. You're too used to that stuff.
It's not. Yeah, you got to get used to the idea that at a high level, everybody is dependent on interfaces ideally.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Interfaces are meant to give you the flexibility of implementation. So this thing is returning an interface, and nobody who's getting it knows what type it is except here.
Oh.
So if we want to do one that is, realm database books repository, we can change it here.
Yeah. Okay.
But everybody else only sees the interface.
Okay. That's why it's called the interface.
Yeah, and also it's a really important part of good design, depending on interfaces. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you need to get used to that. Definitely.
So we're done here for as long
Yeah.
for this method. Now we just have to go to the app component, make sure books activity is allowed to inject.
Mhm.
I'm clicking on it. There we go. It's not. So we're just going to copy one of these lines. Did you mention anything about static here? Or was it somewhere else?
Static provides methods.
Static provides methods. Not okay. So I don't know if these guys can be called something else. I don't know why they're like this. Like they're all void inject.
Because that's the convention.
Okay.
Because you're saying inject this class, right?
Hmm.
Here's a class and fulfill its dependencies for me.
Okay. Hmm. There we go. And now we go over to the books activity, and we can say over here at inject books repository. Okay. And then we have to do the injection here, which we have a context here. We have an application. We can say, like what I'm used to doing is application get app component dot inject this. All right, this should work out of the box. And we just have to replace the instance of books repository inside the initialization line with the one that we just injected. So if I can go to new database books repository, how do I select this whole thing?
Keep pressing Command W.
Command W.
There you go. You got it. It'll keep going. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So I need to say that nope.
Books.
No.
You called it books.
Books
There we go.
repository. All right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Should we run it?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
So that's for the books repository. What else did you want to do? Inject the presenter?
Yeah, maybe you should inject the presenter.
Okay.
But let's see if this works first, right?
Okay.
Make sure it's okay.
If you want to inject the presenter, don't you have to
Yeah.
do this whole new line over there in the provides?
Yeah.
And the Android scheduler's main thread, where's it gonna come from over there?
Well, you can put the Android schedulers.main thread in Dagger as well.
Okay.
Mm.
That's true.
But the problem you're going to have, though, is what about this parameter?
This is context. You have that over there, provides application context.
It's not. It's not the context.
What is it?
Were you there when I wrote it?
Oh, a view. Yeah. I'm used to this being a context. So this is a view, yeah. It needs a view, of course. So you're gonna have to do that as well.
I think probably not going to. Well, we can't.
We cannot.
We cannot
Why?
because it doesn't. Because we don't create it.
We don't create it, yeah.
Right.
That's true.
We don't
That's
create
true.
activities, do we? The Android system creates them for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, 1 second. I need to come back out of full screen, and then I can hopefully bring this over. Ta-da!
Good job.
It worked. Well done.
Let's just note that I wrote all of that. Thanks.
Yeah, well done.
Okay.
And look, found no books.
Found no
So-
books. Yes.
It worked, yeah. So what do you want to do now?
Let's try our hand at the presenter.
No, we can't put the presenter in there.
Oh, because you don't create.
Well, we can, okay. But the only problem is that we won't be able to do this. We'll have to create a setter on the presenter and then pass the view in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems complicated. This establishes the idea of Dagger. I think this is a great way to end the episode. We got what we wanted. We explained the architecture, why we're using it, how to implement it, and an example of injecting an object. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, I think since we're showing people how to refactor an app, we should maybe not now, but in the next episode,
Hmm?
let's do what you said about breaking up these app modules into separate bits.
Hmm? All
So we can
right.
have one for the app. We'll have one for the database. We can have one for. We're gonna need one for the threads, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that one go in the app module actually. So yeah, let's break them up into pieces.
Hmm. You know what I'm gonna do?
And hmm,
I was thinking of on my own to write a similar test for the present to make the snippets activity a presenter as well, or you want to stick to the books activity for now?
uh, I think that's definitely something that would be definitely good to do soon. I mean, I think once we've run out of things in the books activity to pull out,
Hmm.
right? Then if you feel confident, yeah, do it, in the snippet, in the other activity.
Yeah, because I want to try my
So
hand at like this
yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing
yeah.
because it's really diverse. There's so many parts.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, I don't mind if you want to do that. We can do that. We don't have to finish this class. We
yeah.
can leave it like this for the time being. I mean, that's what happens in reality as well. You
Hmm.
come across an application, and you can't rewrite the whole thing, right? No one's going to give you that time. So what you end up doing, you just end up doing it in bits and bobs, and when you get time, you do it.
Okay. So, but
So
about you just did something. You reformatted the code, right?
yes, I reformatted the code because it's
So,
ugly.
okay. So if you push now, if you commit this code now, and
Yeah.
I pull on my end, okay, uh,
Hmm.
it's gonna say that these are changes. Like if you go into each file and
Yes, I
reformat,
understand
is
that.
there a way
I understand.
to circumvent
I
that?
understand that. No, what we have to do is we have to agree between us what the formatting should look like. So we're not formatting it differently.
That's how people do it.
Yes, they have a shared preference file.
Oh, okay.
So like my project at the moment inside Git, there's a file
Hmm.
that stores the settings, and
Hmm.
then what you can do is you get IntelliJ to import it, basically import settings. See, so then all of us are working in the same way.
Okay. Maybe we can go with my file.
Or maybe we can go with mine.
Okay. So
Yours is
this is
pretty
the
damn bad.
really.
Well, have you even seen the IDEs complaining? It's going on about the indents are being a bit weird.
Uh, okay.
Seriously, are you saying that you prefer everything on one line?
It doesn't reach one line with me. It puts them down, because I have the line, the cutoff line is about here. So
I'm not
they,
talking about how long. I don't mean like it goes on over here. I'm
mm,
talking about, look, you see this thing here, this inject.
no, I have it in one line.
Exactly. And I'm
Yeah,
saying, do you really want that?
because I have to read two lines to understand what one element is doing. I have to read
Or what
inject, and then I have to read what it's injecting. So I have to have these spaces.
you see, I tend to do that,
Yeah, I
and then I
used
can
to.
see that this whole thing is, well, I mean, you don't have to look at that for very long before you realize what it is, right?
That's true.
Once
I'm not
you
gonna
write
have
it.
a thesis on that to understand. I'm gonna understand it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Okay,
so I
well,
suppose what you
yeah, we'll see what
yeah,
to do about that. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for explanation, Rakesh, and for proofreading my current implementation. I guess
you're welcome.
keep subscribing, or you can't keep subscribing. You can only subscribe once. But if you haven't yet, you should. Uh, we're almost at 1,000 subscriptions, which is amazing. Uh, and we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.